Hi students, I am Prashant B. Chandran, Assistant Professor, Automobile Engineering Department, SNIT Adoor. Welcome to my new video. In this video, the portions to be covered are extrusion process, hot extrusion, cold extrusion, impact extrusion, extrusion defects, drawing process, wire drawing process, etc. Okay. First of all, extrusion process. Extrusion is a process in which a heated billet or slug of metal, that is a workpiece, which is forced by high pressure through an orifice that is shaped to provide the desired form of to the finished part. Large force is required in extrusion, so metal is extruded under hot conditions. However, cold extrusion is also done for commercial metals. Most of metals and their alloys such as steel, copper, aluminum, etc. are directly extruded at elevated temperatures. Rods, tubes, structural shapes, lead covered cables, aircraft parts, etc. are typical products of extrusion. Metals like lead, tin and copper are extruded in cold condition. Next, hot extrusion. Classification of extrusion process. Extrusion process is classified as hot extrusion, cold extrusion and hydrostatic extrusion. Again, hot extrusion can be classified as forward or direct extrusion, backward or indirect extrusion. Hot extrusion means the extrusion process which is carried out above the recrystallization temperature. Such an extrusion is called as hot extrusion. Then forward or direct extrusion. Direct extrusion can be seen in this diagram, okay, which contains a press operated ram and a cylinder or container into which the metal billet is placed. With application of ram pressure, the metal first plastically fills the cylinder shape and it is then forced out through the die opening until a small amount remains in the container. Okay. That is, the metal will move extruded in the direction same to that of the ram movement. Okay. Indirect extrusion. Indirect extrusion is similar to direct extrusion except that the extruded part is forced through the hollow ram as shown in diagram. That is, here the ram is hollow and the extruded product will come out through the hollow portion of the ram. It involves no friction between the metal billet and the container walls because the billet does not move in the container. Compared with the direct extrusion, less total force is required here. But the equipment is mechanically more complicated in order to accommodate the passage of the extruded shape through the center of the hollow ram. Next one is cold extrusion. In cold extrusion, the extrusion process is carried out below the recrystallization temperature of the metal. Okay. This is the cold extrusion or impact extrusion, which is shown in this diagram. Here, workpiece is not heated above the recrystallization temperature, and only the punch which moves the metal through the orifice. Okay. Next one is extrusion defects. These are the various extrusion defects. First one is surface cracking. When the surface of all extrusion splits, this is often caused by the extrusion temperature, friction or speed being too high. It can also happen at low temperatures if the extruded product temporarily sticks to the die. Second one is pipe, a flow pattern that draws the surface oxides and the impurities to the center of the product. Such a pattern is often caused by high friction or cooling of the outer regions of the billet. Internal cracking, when the center of the extrusion develops cracks or voids, these internal cracks will occur. These cracks are attributed to a state of hydrostatic tensile stress at the center line in the deformation zone in the die. Fourth one is surface lines. When there are lines visible on the surface of the extruded profile, it is called as surface lines. This depends heavily on the quality of the die production and how well the die is maintained, as some residues of the material extruded can stick to the die surface and produce the embossed lines. Next one is drawing process. Drawing is pulling metal through a die or a set of dies to achieve a reduction diameter by means of a tensile force applied to the exit side of the die. The process requires a very large force in order to pull the metal through the die. To reduce the frictional force between the die and the metal, the die is kept well lubricated. Rods, tubes, etc. are often given cold finishing operation to reduce the size, increase strength, improved finish and better accuracy. Descaling of hot rolled bars or tubes is generally done. This is done by immersing in sulfuric acid for 10 to 15 minutes and washing with fresh water. Okay, in the diagram you can see that before drawing process the diameter is capital D, and after the drawing process the diameter is small d. That is, the diameter will get reduced during this drawing process and the force is applied on the outer side of the workpiece. That is, a tensile force is applied. Here in the drawing process the workpiece is forced to move inside the orifice of a die. Next one is wire drawing. Wire drawing is a process of extruding a rod through a die, thereby causing reduction in cross-sectional area of the rod. In wire drawing, the rod may be pulled through a single or several dies of decreasing diameters in order to obtain very thin wire. Raw material, this is a diagram. Raw material used for wire drawing is generally a rolled bar obtained by hot rolling process. The rods obtained by rolling operations are first cleaned to remove scale and coated with lubricants in order to avoid corrosion and oxidation. Dies are generally made of chilled cast iron, hardened alloy steel, or cemented tungsten carbide. Wire drawing is of two types: single draft and continuous drawing. Single draft method operation is started by making pointed end in the rod and pushing it through the tapered hole in the die. The pointed end is then pulled by tongs and then attached to a power operated reel. In continuous drawing process, the steel is rotated at calculated speed and the wire is drawn through the die at a desired rate. The wire is drawn through the dies again and again till necessary reduction is obtained. The area of contact between die and wire is continuously lubricated in order to minimize the frictional forces. In continuous drawing, the wire is drawn continuously through several dies and draw blocks are arranged in series. Commercial drawing speed varies from 3 to 30 meters per minute. The diagram itself, you can see a continuous drawing process where at first the workpiece is drawn to a smaller diameter, then another one die will be there, which again reduces the diameter of the workpiece to another extent. Okay, so a drawing process. Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day. The portions covered in after watching this video, you are responsible to answer these questions. It is define extrusion process, differentiate between hot extrusion and cold extrusion. That is the basic difference between impact extrusion and what is the basic difference between direct extrusion and indirect extrusion. What is impact extrusion? What are the various extrusion defects and the reasons for them? Define drawing process with a neat diagram. That is wire drawing process. Explain it with a neat diagram. Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day.